This happened in the middle of the afternoon on a busy stretch of 79th Street in the Auburn-Gresham neighborhood. A witness who we spoke with says he was coming home from work when he saw this shooting. He went to go help those victims who had been shot. That's when he heard and saw an infant crying in the back seat. Somehow that baby uninjured in all of this.
A baby girl, 14 months old, sitting in a car seat in the back of her mama's car, clutching a lollipop. Outside, gunfire is erupting. Dozens of shots. The windows are shattering. And her mama, Gabryel Ayres, is slumped over in the front seat, bleeding out. The baby? Not a scratch on her. But she will grow up without her mother. And the people who did this? They ran. Just like that. That right there is one of the most gut-wrenching stories to come out of Chicago in 2026. And today we are going to talk about all of it, every detail. Because Gabryel deserved better, and her baby deserves justice. But before we get into it, if you are new here, welcome to Crime Abyss. Please take a second right now to like this video, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you never miss an episode. It genuinely helps this channel grow and keeps stories like Gabryel's from being forgotten. Now let's get into it. So who was Gabryel Ayres? She was a 26-year-old woman from Chicago's South Side. She was a hairstylist. From everything her loved ones have said about her, she was a young woman who was full of life and absolutely devoted to her baby girl. That little girl was everything to her. She was only 14 months old, barely walking, barely talking, and Gabryel was right there in the thick of the most beautiful and exhausting season of motherhood. And anyone who has been around a 14-month-old knows that age is something special. They are into everything. They are curious. They are starting to become their own little person. And Gabryel was getting to witness all of that. Her godfather, Kirk Bell, spoke about her after the shooting, and you could just hear the devastation in everything he said. He described her as someone who loved hard and lived for that baby. He could not wrap his head around what happened. And honestly, neither can the rest of us. Now let's talk about February 4th, 2026, because that is the day everything changed. It was around 1:20 in the afternoon, the middle of the day. Gabryel was in her car on the 7900 block of South May Street in the Auburn-Gresham neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. She was not alone. Her boyfriend, a 27-year-old man, was in the car with her, and her baby girl was in the back seat. What happened next was not random. It was not a stray bullet. It was not an accident. 3 people, masked and deliberate, came running up to that car, and they opened fire. Not a few shots. Dozens of shots. 50 shots or more were fired at that vehicle, in broad daylight, with a baby in the back seat. These were not people who panicked and pulled a trigger. These were people who came with a plan.
This happened in the middle of the afternoon on a busy stretch of 79th Street in the Auburn-Gresham neighborhood. A witness who we spoke with says he was coming home from work when he saw this shooting. He went to go help those victims who had been shot. That's when he heard and saw an infant crying in the back seat. Somehow that baby uninjured in all of this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
A child believed to be less than 1 year old is whisked away by a Chicago police officer Wednesday afternoon after somehow surviving this. We muted the sound, but cell phone video shows at least 3 people with guns run up and fire dozens of shots into a white car. The shooters then get into a red car, stop in front of the white car, and begin shooting again. Then drive away, all while a child was helpless inside that vehicle.
Can we have an officer ride with the 1-year-old to the hospital?
Thank God that baby is so young, they probably won't remember this day, but that baby's going to know that their mother was killed today. That baby could have been killed.
A 26-year-old woman inside the white car was shot several times and later died. A 27-year-old was also shot but expected to survive.
They all had long guns. You know, it's just crazy.
The shooting happened at 79th Street in May around 1:30, just steps from Father Pfleger's St. Sabina Church. He was at the scene moments after the shots were fired.
And somebody needs to be held accountable. And if anybody knows who did that, I think we got some really good shots off the cameras on the buildings over there. I just want them caught.
And after the shooting, that white car crashed into a van. The driver of that van was also uninjured. So far, no arrests have been made. We're live from Chicago Police Headquarters. Charlie DeMar, CBS News, Chicago. Joe and Erica.
Charlie, thank you.
Now, I need you to really sit with that for a second, because I think sometimes when we hear about shootings on the news, it becomes noise. Another number, another statistic. But this was not a statistic. This was a mother in her car in the middle of the afternoon on a regular Wednesday. And 3 people decided that day was a day they were going to end her life with her child watching. The footage that circulated on social media after this happened is chilling. You can see it playing out almost like it was choreographed. The gunman ran up to the car on foot, unloaded rounds into the vehicle, and then retreated to their getaway car, a red Alfa Romeo. But here's the part that really got to people. They did not just drive away. They pulled up a second time and fired again, as if the first round was not enough, as if they wanted to make absolutely sure. That level of intention tells you something. You do not double back after shooting unless you are committed to a result. These were not nervous, trigger-happy individuals. These were calculated, cold, and completely unbothered by the fact that a baby was right there. After the shooting, a witness who happened to be nearby captured the aftermath on video. And what they saw when they looked into that back seat was a 14-month-old baby girl, sitting there crying, still holding her lollipop, unharmed physically. But I want you to think about what that child's nervous system was experiencing in that moment. The noise, the chaos, her mother not responding. She could not understand any of it, and she never will, not fully. Gabryel was pulled from the car and rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Her boyfriend, the 27-year-old man, who was also shot multiple times, survived. He was listed in good condition. But Gabryel did not make it. She was pronounced dead at the hospital, 26 years old, a hairstylist, a mother, gone. Now, the question everybody started asking almost immediately was why? Why Gabryel? Why that car? Why that afternoon? And here's where it gets complicated, because the police were very clear that this did not appear to be random. They believe she was targeted, but the motive, even weeks later, remains officially unknown. However, there is another angle that investigators were looking at quietly. Some sources suggested that the intended target may not have been Gabryel at all, that her boyfriend, the man sitting next to her, may have been the one these gunmen came for. And if that is true, then Gabryel Ayres died because of someone else's enemy. She may have simply been in the wrong seat, on the wrong afternoon, next to the wrong person. And that is a thought that should make all of us deeply uncomfortable.
Chicago police joined the community in a show of solidarity on the very corner where a young woman was gunned down.
I just can relate to what this family is going through, and it's very painful, and it just reminds me of that we need to get these guns off the street.
Neighborhood resident Demetric Brown knows all too well the pain of losing a child to gun violence. She lost her adult daughter in 2021. The Southsiders among a coalition of concerned who attended an outdoor roll call by officers from CPD's 6th District following the slaying of Gabryel Ayres, the 26-year-old mother who was killed in a car while her 14-month-old daughter was in the back seat.
We stand together. We continue to partner with one another, that you guys are willing to come forward and help us, give us information.
Investigators say the attack happened Wednesday afternoon as Ayres and a man sat in a car near 79th and May. 3 men opened fire on their vehicle, causing them to crash into a van.
I talked to her mother, and I've also committed to paying for the services for her as well, and we will be starting to arrange those over the next day.
The 27-year-old man driving the vehicle Ayres was in was wounded but survived the attack, and incredibly, so did Ayres' child.
If he didn't show that he's still God by protecting that baby,
amen.
Yeah. I don't know what else he could show you.
During a prayer vigil attended by Chicago's mayor, other local elected officials, anti-violence advocates, and others, there were pleas for the killing to stop.
You're going to see our guys out here in these yellow or orange jackets constantly engaging the community, putting out fires everywhere.
The brazen daylight shooting in the city's Auburn Gresham neighborhood happened near St. Sabina Church. Today, the pastor, Father Michael Flager, offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Don't be silent.
Don't sit back, because if you do, then you are a co-conspirator to everything that they do.
So far, no one is in custody and no arrests have been made. Chicago police have had very little to say about their ongoing investigation, except to say it is still under investigation. Back to you.
After the shooting, the getaway car, that red Alfa Romeo, was found not too far away, torched, burned to the ground. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about how prepared these people were. They did not just show up with guns. They showed up with a plan to destroy evidence. They thought about the before and the after, which means somewhere out there, people know who did this. People talked before it happened. People saw something. And yet weeks later, no arrests have been made. The community of Auburn Gresham did not stay quiet, though. A vigil was held on the corner of 79th and May, the very spot where Gabryel took her last breaths. Hundreds of people came out. Candles, tears, anger. Father Michael Flegger from St. Sabina Church stood up and said something that I think a lot of people needed to hear. He looked out at that crowd and said, "Think of her face. Think of that baby. Think of that mother laying in that car dead. And I pray you do not sleep until you talk and tell what you know." He also matched the Crime Stoppers reward, bringing the total to $20,000 for anyone with information leading to an arrest. Mayor Brandon Johnson was there. State Senator Willie Preston called the shooters monsters. Chicago police held an outdoor roll call at the scene as a show of solidarity. Everyone showed up. Everyone spoke. But the people who actually pulled those triggers are still out there living their lives while Gabryel's baby girl grows up asking where her mother is. And that brings me to the part of this story that I cannot stop thinking about. That little girl is going to grow up. She is going to go to school. She is going to have birthdays. She is going to reach milestones. And at every single one of those moments, there is going to be an empty space where her mother should have been standing. Gabryel will never see her daughter's first day of school. She will never hear her say a full sentence. She will never get to watch her grow into a woman. All of that was stolen. Not just from Gabryel, but from that child. So here are the questions I want to leave you with today, because I think they matter. How do you plan a murder this detailed, this coordinated, involving a torch getaway car, and not tell a single soul? How does an entire community go silent when $20,000 is sitting on the table? And what does it say about us, all of us, when a mother dies in front of her baby in broad daylight, and nobody comes forward? If you know anything about the shooting of Gabryel Ayres, please contact Cook County Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-535-7867. You do not have to give your name. You just have to make the call. And if the story moved you, if it made you feel something, do not let that feeling just disappear when you close this video. Like this video so more people find it. Subscribe to Crime Abyss so you never miss a story. Click that bell icon so you are always notified, because the only way these stories stay alive is if we keep talking about them. Gabryel deserves that. Her daughter deserves that. See you in the next one.